You know, I've covered hundreds of trials through the years, and there's a handful that I remember so vividly. One of them was involving a doctor named Dirk Greinader up in Dedham, Massachusetts, who was accused and then convicted of murdering his wife. Now, 20 years later, because that was like 20 years ago, 20 years later, there's another high-profile doctor in Dedham, Massachusetts, in the courtroom there, who's going to be charged and perhaps tried for murder. Julie Grant has the details.
Robotic-assisted surgery made him famous, but murder charges may make him infamous. Dr. Ingolf Tuerk was once head of urology at St. Elizabeth's Hospital in Brighton, Massachusetts.
Dr. Ingolf Tuerk is not your typical surgeon.
This promotional video from 2009 was made by St. E's parent company, Steward Healthcare.
At 6'3" with an athletic physique, it's easy to see why he was once a member of the German Olympic decathlon team.
It showcases the doctor's well-roundedness, his skill in robotic surgery, and its benefits. Fast forward to 2020, that pristine picture has drastically changed. Steward fired the doctor in February after a scandal involving fraudulent billing. 3 months later, he's behind bars without bond for allegedly killing his wife, Katie McLean. According to police, it was McLean's ex-husband that alerted them on May 15th that she was missing. That day, police found Tuerk unresponsive at a nearby residence inn. He was revived with Narcan. Officers observing lacerations on his forehead and wrist, cuts on his arms and legs, consistent with walking through brush. The next day, police say Tuerk confessed to strangling McLean during a heated argument while they were drinking, claiming McLean hit him over the head with an object and he started choking her. Realizing McLean was dead, the doctor reportedly told police he panicked, dumping her body in a nearby pond. According to police and court records, the May 15th incident doesn't appear to be isolated. On December 7th, 2019, McLean alleges she thought she was going to die when Tuerk choked her and slammed her into their headboard. 1 week later, the couple married in Las Vegas. Then on January 11th, McLean alleges more violence, saying Tuerk threw her to the ground after asking if she was cheating. A few weeks later, she filed for an abuse prevention order and reported it being violated on February 5th, prompting police to charge Tuerk. Then, on May 2nd, McLean went to court and asked that her civil abuse prevention order be vacated. She asked prosecutors to drop the criminal case as well, but they didn't, and the judge wouldn't adjust Tuerk's bail conditions to allow him back into the home. But Tuerk went anyway. Now, all those past allegations may become an integral part of the state's murder case if they attempt to establish a pattern of domestic violence being carried out by the once highly regarded surgeon.
You know, a trial should be the search for the truth. And you know, we have rules of evidence that prevent certain things from coming in front of a jury when they have to decide a case. But a case like this, it just seems like the jury should know about this domestic violence. I mean, walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, right? Let's bring back in our think tank. They may or may not agree with me. I'm not sure. Marcia? I mean, is there any reason in the world why the jury shouldn't know about a history of domestic violence in a murder case where a husband's accused of murdering his wife?
Well, it sounds based on the facts that this might be a temporary insanity defense that's going to go forward as it pertains to we were both drinking, we got so drunk and got into a heated argument, and she is really the aggressor this time in the argument. If I go with my prosecutorial experience, it would be yes, let it in so the jurors can see that there's a history. However, the law sometimes prevents such evidence because propensity evidence is not admissible. It's going to have to be relevant to the facts and circumstances surrounding the day of this actual murder. And that's where the problem comes in. As defense counsel, my goal would want to be, hey, let's keep this out at all costs, because your concern is that the jurors are going to convict this defendant, not based on the facts and circumstances associated with the homicide case, but based on incidents that occurred between the parties years ago.
Vic, if we do that, though, aren't we putting blinders on the jury and they're not getting the truth of what that relationship was about and what was happening? I mean, to me, there is absolutely probative value to know that this guy wasn't a domestic abuser.
Absolutely. There is probative value, Vinny, but your guest is absolutely correct. We have to balance that against the prejudicial effect that that evidence may have against the charged defendant. In this case, one would ask, well, what trial? I mean, here we have an individual, the doctor has taken law enforcement out to the body, has lined up pretty either truthfully or in a premeditated fashion, a reduced mental state defense, whether that will be temporary insanity, a heat of passion, or something of that nature. It sounds like it would be a very, very hard hill to climb forward on or up towards if you're going to say it's going to go in front of a jury. But the recency of this issue is tremendous. The recency of the claims of domestic violence are tremendous as far as their impact goes. And I would be hard pressed to believe that any juror would not be able to hear that information if it were to be able to proceed to trial. A judge, I believe, would let it in.
Gabriel, I've never seen in my years a doctor who's going to admit to murder. I just don't think it's going to happen. This guy was an Olympic athlete. He's competitive. He wants to win. I don't see him throwing in the towel, even if the confession comes in.
Yeah, a lot of those personalities too. Some of these guys have enormous egos and they're narcissists, and he may feel confident. Like you said, he has that A-type personality where he thinks he can win everything and he's willing to put it all on the line. So that could be a situation. He's got a successful career. He's probably a high net worth individual. It's gonna be whether he wants to take that chance and go to trial. And wouldn't it be surprising based on his personality and what you just shared with me that he wants to take that chance? You just never know. He could be like, hey, am I going to spend 20 years in prison? The rest of my, am I going to spend the remaining days of my life in prison or potentially get off on this? So I might as well take the shot and do what I can. So it doesn't surprise me with these types of personalities. He might take that chance.
When we come back, doomsday cult mom Lori Vallow Daybell, her husband Charles, on video 6 months before her brother shoots and kills him, revealing a lot about Lori Vallow and a lot about Charles Vallow, and perhaps a lot about the missing children, JJ and Tyler. Your reaction next.